Hello, everyone. We're back after a couple week. I wouldn't call it a break. Just kind of stuff came up, and then the last time that we all got together, we did a lot of figuring out kind of what we wanted the game to be and how maybe to look at it from different angles. So I spent the last week just kind of updating some rules. Now we've done some of this stuff way earlier, but there was never any official written down part of it for what kind of world that we want to work in. So some of the history, well, the history is going to be pretty much the same, right? That the idea is going to be the same, but we're going to have it officially written down. We're going to go around in the circle, but have everyone tell us exactly what they want in there and for have it to have it look. So if you're interested in world building, in campaign building, this is going to be the video for you for Honorbound. Um, I think we can get through, I'm going to guess, all of this like in an hour, I'm going to guess. And then if you want to stick around, we'll probably start the next adventure, which I'm really excited about. It involves a giant ship in politics. So many politics, you can, something about cats and them being dead. Very strange. Okay. So here, let's take a look at it. So our, if you take a look, actually, under a sheet that I've got pulled up on the side, is I actually have the Cosmos tracker is what we're calling it. So one of the things that we want to take a look at for the game is, I mean, we want to build it, right? How do we like it? What's good for us? Oh, this did not work out right. There we go. Perfect. We're just going to do it like this. Okay, great. I'll move this over. I can see you guys. Wonderful. Okay, so the first thing I want to take a look at is, so we're going to build the cosmos. What kind of world do we live in? First thing I want to look at is what kind of tone do we want to look at? Now, I will eventually have like a example of like maybe 5 different genres or tones out there. But I'm just going to start and go around the circle, and actually we'll start with Eric on this one. So what I mean by tone is like uh pulpy, and this can kind of bleed into keywords as well. So what, in your opinion, what kind of tone do you want it? Do you want it to be light? Do you want it to be a little bit more gritty? What do you want it to be?
Uh, if we're basing this like literally, if well, I said, well, if you were to ask me this when we first started like this campaign,
Hmm.
I would have like mentioned something sort of like light and fun. Um, but going into this like next part, I think it has to get grittier, right? Because I think it's getting a little realer for everybody. And so I don't mind the idea of it going from something a little more lighthearted into a tone that starts to get gritty. I'm not a huge fan like super gritty all the time, but I don't mind a little bit. So how's that sound?
So like light adventure that leans into some grit. Yeah. Okay, sounds good. Rachel, how about you?
Are you in this world? Are you looking for it to be like everybody's a little different? Because honestly, mine was gonna be pretty comparable. Maybe grit wasn't gonna be the word I was gonna use, but I was gonna say, yeah, I'd like a blend. What is the word? A dramedy. Not necessarily comedy though. That's not the word I'm looking for. But like light, but also it's action. Like
Yeah.
I'm
So
trying to think of like
yeah,
a movie example where it's like lighthearted, but there's action. It's a good blend of the two. Like
like
Guardians of the Galaxy, maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with good
yeah,
lighthearted action movies.
yeah.
Like
No, that's
Princess
great.
Bride?
Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a
Princess
good
Kind of
Bride.
like valor, like sword fighting and intrigue and romance and all of that. Yeah, sure. That's
Hmm.
good.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Love it. No, that's the other thing I was going to lead into then. Well, just to follow up for both of you, as both said that kind of, well, nope, I won't say anything. Aaron, what do you think?
And just to absolute for the little dirt behind the ears, absolutely a little grunge in the corners. I love it. a little bit light, but adventure-y with the grit sort of overtones, and certainly moving towards. I also see it's not like the Wonder Years coming of age story, right? But certainly it seems like each of our characters is trying to find something, right? Find their place in a slightly different way. Three different contexts, but there is, again, not coming of age, but certainly there's figuring some things out that's going to have to happen. And I don't know that that necessarily goes in any of the other directions. Maybe sort of a slightly different direction for a little bit of the tone.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, just a little bit like find themselves, a little introspection every once in a while. Okay,
Once in
perfect.
a while, you need that scene in Full House where the sentimental music comes in, and there's like the talk between the dad and the daughter, where they like.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Boys have learned how to be functional adults. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. That's just the scene that came to mind when you're.
Yeah.
Like when he taught DJ how to put makeup on. It was a classic episode of Full House. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think of that every time.
So
Yeah, yeah,
that
really not mopey or sickly sweet, right? Like that's not where I'm going, but there seems to be a self discovery component for each of us that, yeah, it can still be fun and gritty, but also, has, yeah, I think there's also that character building piece that we're gonna have to look. I'd hope we can put into it.
perfect. So if another one that is on the document I sent out that I didn't write down here was like a touchstone, not a tough stone, a touchstone. Um, like some sort of media touchstone. It's like Wonder Years, Princess Bride. Um, I think I want for me, I also like the adventurous, but I also really enjoy the espionage saboteur tone at times as well. As we're going to see a little bit in this adventure. So this one's probably going to be a little bit more for me, but there's definitely plenty of um, uh, lighthearted stuff. Speaking of lighthearted, do we want to get into some more comedy stuff with it then? Because I'm more than happy to do that.
I think
I'm
we
not
bring that
necessarily
on
into like comedy,
ourselves.
but like yeah, I was gonna say I really liked like, the dance that had to happen in order for to let the one creature not suck all our brains out or whatever it was gonna do. You just had to keep it happy or it was going to corrupt everybody.
Yeah, because I've been throwing
That
some
kind of
kind
stuff.
of
Like having a little
serious. Well, I've been throwing some very serious things at you guys. So what I'm hearing is I should probably bring that back a little bit in tone, right? Instead of
there's
like
a balance.
threatening the lives of everyone in the universe, maybe just like maybe a planet, or I don't know. It's still pretty grim. I'm
It's
I think
funny.
that scenario was just the ship. It was just everybody on this ship would be affected if this thing got mad.
There's like, I want there to be high stakes though too, and still keep it lighthearted, right? Like whatever that balance is, I don't know. I think you're doing it so far. That's what's funny. Like I think we're getting both things done, but yeah, I don't
Like
think
a
the
little
stakes
more.
stakes don't need to be any lower. But I like that we find a fun way to get around these problems. I guess I'd rather that happen than like constantly people like dying all around us. Like there's like when it gets really gritty that way, like it doesn't matter what you do, and like people are just dying. Like that gets. I don't think that's what this group is right here, right now. Anyway,
yeah. Okay. Aaron,
Like
I think you're.
yeah, and say like more like the more lighthearted episodes of Firefly the series, not the gritty of Serenity the movie, right? Like how do you balance that sort of space? I don't know that we're really going space western sort of feel, um, but yeah, I sort of the stakes are not the end of the universe. The stakes are some big important things, but yeah, it's not everyone's going to die if I screw it up.
Well, you guys picked out your nemesis, so we'll see how that goes. Now that being said, awesome. All right, so it gives us a really good idea as far as like a touchstone for me. Um, like I really enjoyed the two things that I've seen recently that I really, really thoroughly enjoyed was the first season of Arcane. Um, if you haven't seen that, it is it's on Netflix. It's really, really good, and I think it really reflects a lot of the ideas that I want to use in this world. Really, there's like hidden backstories and politics and all that stuff. It is gritty, though. It is gritty. The same with like I just finished the first season of Andor too, not too long ago, and that is also a little gritty, but also like you're going along with it, and like you're this is this dude who's making big changes in the world who doesn't really know that he's making big changes in the world, and that's what your guys are going to be doing almost the exact same thing. So I think my tones are a little bit darker, so maybe I need to lighten that up because honestly, my biggest pull away of games that I want to play is the Three Musketeers by the BBC. That it's the best example of it. It's a lot of fun. Fairly light. Okay. We'll go around starting with Rachel this time of keywords. And I'm going to lump these together. So, like, keyword of a couple of different things, like words that you want to use to describe the campaign, and also an activity or two that you want to do in the campaign.
We've kind of used some keywords.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have any to add to what we've said? Um, activities and scenes.
I, even if you, because you're right, we have taken a look at keywords. Maybe if you want to think of like just some activities that you think you want your character to be doing, or even like
Sure.
in this world that you want to see happen.
Right. And it sounds like we're going to be out on another ship. Because I was going to say, I liked the ship travel of last time, being like in like this contained place, and this is where the thing needs to happen. I don't know if that answers the question.
Would you like some more time? Do you want me to come back to you?
Maybe.
Okay. Yeah, that's
I
fine.
like. Oh, I guess as I think about it, I'm like I like heist kind of stuff.
Heists? Yeah,
Heists are fun.
great. Yeah.
Um, and like mysteries. Like I would just say like heists and mysteries. Those aren't
Okay.
really scenes or activities specifically, but
Oh, that's 100% exactly what I'm looking for. And so, like, you've got lighthearted action now combined with like heist and mysteries. Okay. Yeah. So you want lighthearted action that involves the activities of like heists and mysteries. Yeah. Sounds awesome. Okay.
yeah.
Aaron, how about you? What do you think? Any specific activities like, well, I don't know. It's anything you can think of that your character can do. Like, what?
I a little bit of a counterpoint, but I think I see a little bit of opportunity to blend here with what Rachel just said. Like to explore the weave a little bit. That's something that has always been sort of off to the side for us, and maybe something that focuses on that. I think there could be an interesting sort of mystery adventure piece that sort of unlocks that. Some sort of not necessarily like dungeon crawly kind of thing, right? But there could be some adventure that exposes us to some of what's happening sort of behind the scenes that people don't normally see with the weave, right? I don't know if it had, I'm not quite sure what that looks like yet. Um, and alternatively, to then slide a little sideways with that, it just has to be that there are some really great social interactions that we have yet to explore with the weave, right? And so is that a place of higher learning? Is it a place of religious significance? Is it a group of people going their own direction with the weave? I don't really know what that looks like yet, but sort of exploring the weave in those two dimensions, one sort of on the adventure, not quite dungeon crawly side, the other in a social engagement sort of political piece, I think could lead sort of
Yeah.
interesting directions. But I do love the idea of sort of some sort of mystery piece. I really like that. Really like that idea.
Okay. Yeah, fantastic. And Eric.
For another touchstone, real quick, I was just thinking of like Raiders of the Lost Ark,
Mm,
where there's a lot of adventure things happening, and it seems pretty light because That's what Harrison Ford does really well. But it's like Hitler taking over the world, kind of. You know what I mean? Or God coming to smite us all. Like there's some
Yes.
pretty big stakes, but he keeps it light and it's pretty fun. So anyway, I like that tone. When you the first thing I was gonna say were heists and mysteries. I'm not even kidding. That was like the first two things I was gonna say. Good job, Rachel.
Okay.
I like the idea of the weave. I like I like every time we play when there's a little bit of world building and a little bit of like what we find out about another species that we didn't know. And it seems like when we are involved with that, it's really fun too. It just fleshes it out a little bit. And by the time you get to the end, like there's so much that you figured out at the end of it all. And I really like that.
Yeah. Yep. That's a lot of fun. So more of the like the cultural world building. Okay. And then more heists. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting because we could do a whole campaign of just you guys stealing stuff, right? And also like going along with the Raiders of the Lost Ark, there is something that I'm going to push more that I really like as far as something that we're kind of working with, as far as the culture that we're putting together, is introducing legacy hunters. Um, you guys haven't seen this because it's on the core book that I'm working on, but from the conversation we had last time, it was adventure, but it's now been changed over to scavenger. And one of their core activities is to go legacy hunting, which means there's something out there, right, that you are hired to go get. You're a professional legacy hunter. And what you do with it is up to you, whether you're doing it for someone else to sell it or whatever, right? So yeah, I like these ideas. So explore the weave, some more culture building, heist, mystery stuff. Love it. Okay. Now this time, this is for everyone. I'm going to start with Aaron, but the idea is that what NPCs and other types of people do you want to deal with? There's going to be a follow up is that what do you want the antagonist to be and what do you want them to look like? Okay, and I'll kind of give you a little bit of scale on that one. So these are just everyday people that you want to run into. Like, I think one thing, well, no, you just tell me what, yeah, what are some other people you want to run into in this world?
I loved Altet. I love the pirate, smuggler, sort of rapscallion. Oh, did I just mute me? Yeah, I love this sort of piratey rapscallion character that can, they can play a lot of roles from your perspective, right? They can be as gritty as they need to be or not. I do love an enemy with a sidekick, right? Um,
Yes.
Yeah. What one of my favorite moments recently in our gaming was when we were sort of dealing with El Tet and we were in the bar, right? And there's all sorts of things going down, and there was sort of a henchman, right hand man off to the side. That was a really interesting character to me, and so it's sort of that pairing where you've got some sort of as gritty as it needs to be potential big bad potentially, but then there's some other characters around that we can engage with. I think that adds sort of a richness in social environment which we're acting with the villain, not just always fighting them.
Because I'm going to have you come up with two people that you want to interact more with. So, I mean, this kind of falls under an antagonist, right? So, where you want more pirate antagonists, that sort of thing, yeah? Or
I like a
just,
pirate smuggler, yeah. Yeah.
okay, a pirate smuggler. Now, this is also something that, like, if you want to name them, that's not Alatet, or maybe here you go. Pirate smuggler, you were also talking about henchmen. So henchmen for Alatet. Okay, so now we've just created that. That's now in our world. And it's something that that I'll be dropping into adventures here and there. All right, Eric.
Uh, So do you want more specific NPCs or do you want kinds of NPCs?
A little bit of both. Maybe actually that's what I should do. I'll do it as the kind, and then we'll do one specific. So, pirate smugglers was the kind of genre of other people, and then the specific. Well, you know what? I'll leave that for Aaron to decide, unless that's what exactly what you want is a henchman for Alatet.
I was thinking more archetype, but I'm totally down with that as a specific.
Oop, it's gone. Okay. All right. So think about a specific pirate smuggler person that we're going to introduce. Okay. All right. Eric, go with type of person, and then we'll create them.
Yeah. Uh, I like the idea of like the rival operator, someone who's been like just like one step ahead of me, us, and vice versa. Sometimes where it's
Mhm.
definitely a rival, but you know, pretty close, similar skill levels.
You guys love your antagonists. Like you can't create just someone to hang out with. It has to be someone that you're going up against.
Yeah.
Why? All right.
Make
So,
like a super rich person that loves us. That can be yours, please. Like this,
all
I
right. How about
don't
just
know. I could have
how about
said anything. I'm like, oh, somebody, yeah, antagonist. No, that's all right. It's more
how
fun.
about more operators slash spies? You want to see
Sure.
more of that world?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. And then we'll leave antagonist for a rival operator. Okay. And Rachel.
I really love the like unique creatures
Hmm,
that
mhm.
like in the tavern at the beginning, the whatever I don't even remember what it was
The
called.
mugwump. Yeah.
Especially I really enjoyed getting to like decide what that meant, but also like we met a Brindlebix or whatever, and like even though you had already decided what that meant, like interacting with creatures that are like not out of the norm is really interesting to me. And I would love to get more into like what is a Brindlebix and where did he come from? Like
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay. And then for me, some other people that aren't necessarily antagonists, but you're going to be more involved with them. I think, and I think Aaron brought it up a little bit earlier. I like the idea of more religious. It's either going to be more religious people just hanging out, just like in the background, right? Doesn't mean you're going to have to be interacting with them directly, but it's more involved in your world. So more like clergy people is what I'll say. Because I think we've got a good handle on the politicians that we're seeing a decent amount of. Um, okay, so then, Aaron, did you think of like a specific um, pirate smuggler or another different genre of people that? Actually, just stick with genre. It doesn't have to be an exact person. That's what we'll do.
I want to take the religious type and make it more. I don't want to say cultish. Not. I don't mean cultish at all. But
Hmm.
with the whole corp thing falling apart and people sort of re-exposing themselves and reconnecting,
Hmm.
I'd love for that to have more of an ad hoc feel, right? That people are just sort of like discovering spirituality or religion or the weaver, whatever that turns out to be. People, I mean, there's going to be a lot of exploration in that space. So I think I think we don't want to keep it too tight too early, right?
I love the word cult because it doesn't necessarily mean a negative thing. Because there's one of the religions out there is called the cult of the machine head, right? Where they think that it's the AI prophets are the ones that created the power, you know? So cult or religious, more, but more like folksy. I really like that touch because, yeah, you're going to bump into people all day long that just have their own thoughts about it that have changed their lives because of it. That's a really good point. Okay, great. And Eric,
We're not doing not a specific
if
NPC,
you
just
want
like
to,
types.
if you want to, we can. Or I like the idea of keeping it general too, unless there's someone very specific. Like, you know what? I really want there to be a fence that we can deal with.
Sure. Uh, I like the idea of the crime lord, like the sort of the Job of the Hut sort of figurehead. that exists that you can go to this place and risk a lot and maybe get what you want in exchange for a really steep penalty to pay back. Um,
Yeah, yeah, done.
that kind of thing's fun.
All right, perfect. And Rachel, what else would you like to see in this world?
I feel like we've covered a lot.
We have, but it's one thing about thinking about like brainstorming for this stuff. A, there's no bad things. And two, what are
Mhm.
things that you've had like past really good experiences with that you'd like to reenact, or just something you've never seen or done before, like in this world that we're creating. Like what? I want knights. I want there
Uh,
to just be a group of knights people. I'm like, yeah, great, boom, knights.
okay. I like there being. I mean, this gets more into like a specific NPC, but maybe there's just like a some type of group of people. I like there being some type of like the wise old elder kind of situation, like the person you turn to for the wisdom, um,
Yeah.
and the lore of yesteryear and all that stuff. I like that kind
Okay, perfect. I love it. This gives me a bunch of different hooks to work with for characters that can be just adventures just rolling up. So I was one that put like kind of more clergy, and I also really want more of. I think you guys are kind of messing around with it too, and I think I want to do a little bit more with the oracles. I think I want to try and bring them into play just a little bit more. That's a little bit more of the weave stuff. Okay, now let's talk about antagonists, right? Who do you want there? Like, who are the bad guys in this world? I'm going to give you ones that already are bad guys in this world. Okay. Um, there are like crime lords already. Okay. Those exist. They're not necessarily bad, but they are antagonists for sure. Right. There are, what's the other thing? And also the free city states. While free city states in and of themselves are not bad, but their power can be easily abused by the people who run them. And that's a problem. But starting with who are we starting with this time? Starting with Eric. What would you like to see more? Like, who are the bad guys in the cosmos?
In more of a general sense.
Like, who do you want to be fighting against? Like, do you want to fight against corrupt politicians? Do you want to be up against crime lords specifically? Is there like, what? I think bad guys, there's going to be like this, there's a cult. There's this religious cult we're trying to fight against. Or it's just the police. The police don't quite work in this world because we are the police. Like we're kind of self-policing a little bit, and maybe the judge system is maybe a little corrupt,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever you want. Or like, what? There's a ghost. There's ghosts, and I want to fight ghosts. I'm like, awesome. Let's do that.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, I'll go with ghosts. Um, I like ghosts. I like fighting ghosts. Yeah, I like all those things that you threw out. Um, uh, I like the it's like roaming, like sort of like the bounty hunter guild. You know what I mean? Like we know we have some of those kind of things out there, and just that even if there's a there's a framework that they work within, and so that it's easy for them to get help or easy for them to like bring in more reinforcements, that kind of thing. So it's not the feeling that the bounty hunters just like that one guy. We take care of them, and we don't have to worry about the bounty hunters ever again. But that there's more, and they're like, and that
Yeah.
it gets worse for us. That kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, I really like that. Bounty guilds. How about you, Rachel?
I was gonna say almost the exact same kind of descriptor. Um, apparently he and I are on the same wavelength tonight.
Well, it could be. I mean,
Um,
it could be similar. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
I
If
was
that's
actually
what you
gonna
want.
in a different direction and say if like the bounty hunter guilds are kind of like the unofficial whatever, I think there's also like the official like um military presence almost. Like I'm trying to think what to compare it to. Like um just more like police. I don't know, but I don't know exactly what that looks like. But it's like an organized, formal, recognized, uniformed
Okay.
group of people that are out patrolling in
Are
some
these
capacity.
controlled by the ruling uh, population, populace, or is it just like a roaming guild? Because I don't know if we want to go all police are bad, but maybe we do, and that could be the
For
big
sure. That's
struggle.
why I was like, I don't necessarily want them to even be police, but there's some type of even like a rogue patrol of some kind where they still look like they belong, but they are encounter them like that's bad news as well
Okay, so they
to
are
differentiate them
authority.
until you encounter them. Yeah, but they're definitely like yeah, I would say like they're their own. You can't differentiate them until suddenly you're there and you're like, oh no, these are the like when you get a spammy text message and it looks like it's a legit thing, but they have that one letter that's just a little bit different.
Mhm.
That makes you go, that's not real.
So what I wrote down was a
Like they look the same until they're not.
what I wrote down was paramilitary peacekeepers, and the idea is that every area has some sort of law enforcement. Sometimes that's you guys that is the law enforcement because you just have the most authority in the area. Um, but if they get there first before any other law enforcement of the area, they do have jurisdiction because they've done so much. They have an official guild and all that, but they're doing it to make money, right? They're the people that like, oh, sweet, we're legacy hunters. We broke into this asteroid mine and liberated this forbidden technology that we've been looking for. And then they're the group that's just waiting for them as they come out. And they're like, it's illegal to be here, so you better hand it over. So, okay. All right. Yeah. Sounds great. And Aaron.
Yeah, I want to continue on that theme. I think one of the reasons that people don't push back against this system is because they're afraid of the corporations coming back. So I think in that old history, right? The wars are over, the corporations are broken, but there's still people in the universe who were better off under that system. It was darker, it was more oppressive, but in that environment, there's always people who benefit and that kind of wish it would come back, right? And so people put up with this sort of rough and tumble world because that's the barrier that ensures that the corpse don't come back. So I wonder if there is this sort of always this sort of like is the are they out there, are they plotting against us, you know like how do we balance this really rough and tumble world with one that was highly organized and deeply oppressive but was a better one for certain people in the world, right? So I think there might be that undercurrent all the time, both of man, I wish they'd come back, that small group,
Yeah.
and in fact some of them still out there wishing, actively trying to bring it back, maybe under the guise of some of these guilds or gangs or whatever.
Yeah.
But the people are afraid of that. Yeah, I don't know. I like that push and pull of the bad old days for like 90% of people were the good old days for the other 10% kind of a thing.
Yeah. So I'm going to put down company sympathizers that are like, boy, my great great grandfather was blowing up. Loved it. Our family name meant something. It was wonderful. Yeah, 100%. That may get a little bit darker for the light tones that we're looking at, but we don't have to make it that way, I guess. But yes, that is a great 100%. That's definitely a place to lean into. Okay, and for me, no, I'm happy with that. Okay, now starting with Rachel, there's only three more questions, and sorry, two more questions. Well, we'll figure it out. All right, Rachel, what technology, and if you want to combine this, a technology that you want and a forbidden technology. I'm going to start, but you're going to go after me. Okay. Technology that we want is that I created the lace, which is the internet. That when the AI prophets left, though, the internet should have stopped working. Like some of the circuits, the wavelengths or whatever, don't exist anymore. But somehow the essence, the weave, is keeping it going. So the internet exists, but yeah, it's now called the lace. Forbidden technology, anything having to do with interstellar travel slash time travel. I do not want that in this world. If that's okay. Are you guys cool with that? Okay. All right. Now, starting with Rachel, what's a technology that you want to see or see more of, and what you're like, you know what? I don't want this to be that type of world.
Mm, don't know.
That's okay. You want to hear some of the other ideas first?
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
No, it's absolutely fine. I'll go to Aaron then.
Uh, I'm not playing a humanish, but I love that they seem to be just shameless body modders. They're just like cyborging out, and I think there's a lot of fun to be had there. I don't know what that looks like yet. I'm not playing one, but I think there's some real cool options there. Um, I don't know that I want to necessarily not see a technology, but it would make a lot of sense to me in this universe if cloning was out.
Yeah.
I don't, not to say that it should be for this game. I'm not saying that I don't want to see any of it, but I would think that that would be a huge, given the vibe, would be a huge either thing of the past that no one wants to go back to, or just a thing that people just know it's wisest to avoid, even though some foolhardy people engage.
So think of yourselves right now as the AI prophets. You become sentient, you look around the world, and you're like, well, these technologies, these people should never have. So we're just taking that technology and leaving with it. Like they're so like cloning. Yeah, great example. They can't handle cloning. They shouldn't have it. It's a forbidden technology, which, like you said, 100%. Of course, people are still going to try and find that information about it, but that's part of the adventures that we're going to be doing. All right, Eric. Pro, one technology we want to keep, one we want to get rid of, or see more of. One the AI prophets are like, no, this is a forbidden technology.
I really like it when you can uh, do modifications to like spacecraft. So like we've definitely seen like plenty of different systems on like the ships we've been on, but really being able to like not so much get into the a nitty gritty like, well, because our armor class is now this, our hull will have more points than our shields. Like I don't really care about that stuff, but just like the idea of like, well, this is slightly better on our ship because we did this in a very narrative storytelling way. I don't need a min max with a whole nother system for ships. I think that we can probably just time travel and interdimensional travel and just like plain old travel, all of that just kind of gone. Like,
Like we can travel between planets, is what I'm saying.
yeah,
And it's not weird. We can do it in a quick enough thing where we can travel amongst them where it's not like going to take years, right? So
right.
even though we can do that, I'm still going to avoid time, like how that affects time. I'm getting rid of that.
Sure.
We're just going to wave our hands. You'd be like, right, you're there, done, woo.
I like that just fine.
Is there anything else that you
And
want to see forbidden?
uh, I think let's just avoid interdimensional stuff too, or extra dimensional things. Like there's no like other versions of ourselves that exist and have been doing the same thing. Like it, that kind of stuff gets really. I think it's interesting sometimes. I think we have enough on our plate. We don't need to really go there yet.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good idea because that's an easy way to explain like the essence too. Like, oh well, it's just another dimension, and I don't want that. I like that it's here, and we gotta figure out, or we don't have to, but yeah, we can try and
Yeah.
figure out. All right, Rachel, how you feeling?
This is still not one of my strength areas, but I'll figure
All
something
right.
out. I don't know why technology is always like the thing that hangs me up in games like this. Um, I would say something we do have is the ability to make any planet livable, like terraforming it quickly or just making it so like we can make pods that have the atmosphere we need and things like that. Ways to
Okay,
make yeah, just go
and
that
you
far.
like that? You want to see more of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
How
going
about
planets where like this should not be some place where anybody lives, but somebody has found a way to live there because that technology exists.
yeah? Okay, great. How about a technology that you're like, I don't want to see it? And one thing that I might throw out there too is like weapons of mass destruction,
Oh,
right?
yeah, I don't like those.
Yeah.
I'm fine saying those are not a thing. Yeah, that sounds good to me.
What kind of energy would that be? Just like crystal energy, something like that.
Oh. Yeah?
Yeah. Crystal energy bombs, and really slash weapons of WMDs. Okay, perfect. Okay, great. Final thing that we'll do for our Cosmos building is in your heads, how big is the adventuring area? Not how big is the universe, but how in your head, what have you been imagining for like how big is the place that you adventure in? I'll give you an example that we do not have to stick with at all because I want to hear you guys' what you've been thinking about. In my head, I've been thinking like 7 planets with like moons in satellites. And that's kind of what our yeah, what ours looks like. And that's where we can travel to and all that. It's not very big. If you guys have something different that you're thinking about, I love it.
I was under the impression that different races came from sort of different solar systems, but that may not be what you had in mind. Were they had they just come to be on different planets in the sort of in nearby galaxies, or what did you have in mind as sort of the base rule? I don't want to break away from that too far.
Well, I don't want to put any ideas in your head though either, right? So the idea was that the whole of the Milky Way and beyond are farmable, right? The companies went out there, they enslaved everything they ran into to work, right? And then the wars happened, and now this is one of the hubs where it's all of these species that maybe didn't even know that other species existed, right? Were captured, put into these company vessels, and then now you're all stuck together trying to build a new society after the AI profits blew everything up.
Mhm. No, that makes that actually I'm comfortable with that. Yeah, I was just trying to figure out sort of like what did that look like, but it makes sense that yeah, back in those bad old days, there was all this sort of forced mingling, not necessarily relocation, but certainly like portions of the universe became more common because of resources or ease of travel or whatever it was. So no,
Yeah.
I'm good with that. Like if we're within, you know, a solar system, that seems fine to me. I'm open to broader travel though if other people want to look more broadly.
Okay. So
We
you're
might
saying like
yeah,
our solar
like
system.
yeah, I mean, if we're in a system with like, 9 planets and 50 moons or whatever, like then I can sort of visualize it. But if it's like, okay, and now you're going to go X light years away, like there is no map in my head anymore when it's like
Yeah.
the, universal scale as opposed to like a solar system. But I'm open to either way, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Rachel, what do you think? How big is our adventuring universe?
I'm on board with the well, let me try that again. Solar system concept.
Okay. All right. So, Eric, what do you think?
I definitely thought it was bigger in my brain
Yeah, that's what we should
for
put
sure.
down then.
I think
So
I
you're
saw.
thinking like,
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was bigger, but I think it makes sense to be solar system. Is I guess
well,
what I
I
should
was
say.
just asking like what you think and in your head because that's what we want to aim towards, right? For what you guys want to. Like, I don't like I'm in my head. It's been like a solar system with the an option of like if we want to leave the solar system, we can, but then we're gonna have to hang out. Something big is gonna have to happen while we're at this other solar system, right? We can communicate with them, but we can't interact with them. Um, but like, how big do you want to go, right? And if it's like thousands of planets, awesome. Let's take a look into that. Because the other thing I want to bring into this too is that we're gonna go to this planet, and we're gonna do a quick little. All right, what keywords are attached to this planet? Boom, planet's made. Let's go to it.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking that it was sort of each species had a homeworld and a homeworld solar system, right?
Hmm.
Um, I don't think I need there to be thousands of
Hundreds?
planets, but I like the idea that there's plenty out there that we haven't found or that haven't been
Oh
maybe
yeah,
they're discovered but not really surveyed. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um, which means that we have to pretty much go to other stars to be able to do that, which is going to take some travel to do that kind of thing, which I like. I think there's plenty to do downtime on a ship if you want to, and otherwise you just say, "And you're there now." You know,
Yep.
like we don't care about that part of it. So yeah, yeah, I can dig it.
Okay. So you're thinking more closer to
To
hundreds of
me,
Milky Way. Yeah, Rachel?
I guess in my mind, I think I'm honestly somewhere in between those two. You say, what were you envisioning? Well, yes, I was on board with the sources. If I'm being honest, I was envisioning bigger, but maybe I was envisioning more like there's like 7 planets that are kind of part of this system, but they're like spread out amongst different solar systems. So it's like
Okay.
there are 7 planets in a solar system, but some of them are not inhabited, or some of them are not like I mean, we have the technology to inhabit them, so maybe somebody has. But there's like one or two main ones per
Hmm.
system. So there's like maybe
Okay.
4 or 5 systems with 7 to 10 planets that are like the big ones for
And
our
like in
government or our whatever.
multiple species or lineages can be within a system. They can also be divided up. So you're looking at like, yeah, you said like what, 4 systems?
Yeah, 4
Okay.
systems, like 10ish, 7 to 10
Yeah.
planets.
That like
Main
splits
hubs.
it. Like
So
in each
that's what I
system
was.
can be like 10. Yeah. Well, yeah, that splits it like right between what the other two are brought up. Okay. Yeah. That just gives me a good idea of what we want to try and be working in. All right. Perfect. We've made the universe. How easy was that? Woo. Something that we've never even talked about though is naming the universe. Like, I feel like the last time that I let you guys name something, it didn't really happen. Um, Now I have just been calling it System Prime, where you guys are adventuring in. And until you tell me differently, that's what it's going to be. And I love the idea of we're coming to a different name. I've always slipped in Aldenia into everything I work on because that was the original world that I made way back when. But this does not have to be the case because this is a shared world. Okay. So just throwing that out there. All right. How's everyone feel? Was that fun? Do you feel better about this world of Honorbound that we're going to explore? All right. Perfect. So on the feet. Well, why don't we take just like a little 5-minute break then? This is the first part that we've done. The second part we're going to look at that we haven't officially done because I don't think I didn't have all the rules kind of mapped out as of yet, but we're going to create the covenant that you guys belong to. This is going to take a lot less time because you guys have answered most of those questions already. Okay. But we'll review those for those that are watching. And yeah. You guys up for just a little 5-minute break and we'll be right back? All right, sounds good. Talk to you soon.